Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we are building a discard deck. We know that we have Prince John and the little squirrel coming in Rise of Floodborn that are going to be bringing discard to a whole new level. But for now, let's see what we can do with the first chapter. So what are the discard effects that we have? Well, we have Mr. Flynn Rider. Whenever he's challenged, opponent has to discard a card. We also have Sudden Chill, which says each opponent discards a card. Very simple, straightforward. It's a song, so we can play it without spending ink, which is pretty strong. But the real discard chief is Have You Forgotten Me, making our opponent discard 2 cards. And that's about it in terms of discard effects that are available to us at this point in time. But why do we want to play this card in Lorcana? This card has that big advantage of if the opponent doesn't have anything to play, well, it makes your life much easier. But further than that, every card we make our opponent discard is either an ink card or a played card. And if we discard enough of our opponent's cards, and suddenly they don't have enough ink to play anything, and they are in that very odd choice where the card that they're top decking, they can't play it because they don't have the ink. They don't really want to ink it, but they have to. Or they kind of get stuck with it and we slow them down. Now, the downside of this card is that we can run out of cards, so we need to make sure that we have a proper supply of cards available to us. So we're going to add some draw spells. Rapunzel, because we're playing Amber and everything is free on Pixelborn, so I'll be playing a full playset of Rapunzel. We'll also be playing some Stitch Rockstars. Why Stitch Rockstars? Well, looking for some draw. And we're also, well, we know we're playing some Flynn Riders. And with Amber and that lineup, I really like going after some Lilos and some Simbas. And suddenly our curve kind of makes itself. We have Flynn or Simba on turn 2. We have a Lilo on turn 1. Might as well play some Stitches, especially if we're going to be shifting into Big Papa Stitch, the rock star. Then that just makes sense. Now, what else do we have in terms of card advantage? Well, Hades is an option. I'll leave that one for another day, maybe the next video. Wink wink. We have Ariel. I love Ariel, and we're already playing a song. We're already playing Sudden Chill. So we want to find that Sudden Chill, and Ariel provides that potential card advantage of finding a song as long as we include enough songs. So it's a bit of a cost, but we're going to be playing a full playset of Be Our Guest, and Emerald also has Mother Knows Best as our source of removal. That's also a song. So now we have a full 12 copies of songs with Mother Knows Best, Be Our Guest, and Sudden Chill. We really want to find those Sudden Chills so that we can go, ideally, Lilo turn 1, Simba turn 2, Ariel turn 3, find the Sudden Chill, and then on turn 4 we go, sing a Sudden Chill, You've Forgotten Me, bang, 3 cards out of your hand, your strategy is demolished. And then we just follow up with our card draw and our bigger threats. We need bigger threats. So what's available in terms of 5-drops here? We have Cusco. What's a bigger threat than Cusco? The Temperamental Emperor. War, no touchy. Make sure that you take out a card that's trying to attack it. Quest for 3. Fantastic threat, and I think we can afford the uninkables. There's also Maximus. Pretty big bodyguard. So he's going to help to protect our Lilo. He's going to help to, well, mostly protect Lilo. And also big stats. When he quests, he boosts something. Pretty decent 5-drop there. Also inkable, which is what we're looking for at this time. Now we're at 52 cards. So what are we missing? We have some draw. We have a lot of discard, which is what we're looking for. We are playing the Big Stitch, so I'd like to have a 5th 1 or 2 drop. And there is a nice one that we can include here with Lefou. Lefou's a 2-quester. So he quests a lot, he quests fast, So now we have Lilo as an early 2-quester, Lefou as an early 2-quester, and we have Flynn Rider as an early 2-quester, which can apply a lot of pressure. And remember, we're now playing 2 bodyguards. We're playing the Simbas and we're playing the Maximuses. So if the discard plan doesn't go well, we also have the aggressive into bodyguards type of strategy to follow it up. And another thing that's pretty good in this deck is trading resources. So we're trading resources with cards in our opponent's hand, and we have Cusco that says, if you want to take me out, you're going to have to sacrifice something. Well, there's another aggressive card with a similar ability in Cheshire Cat. Another aggressive 2-quester, and if you want to take it out, you're going to have to trade something. So Cheshire Cat is going to round up our list. Also another 3-drop. We were a little light on 3. Now we have a nice curve, a nice solid game plan, good late game, good card draw, and discard. So let's see how great this is in action with some games coming right up. Let's see what we get this time. Be our guest, Lilo, Stitch, Maximus, pair of Cuscos, and Flynn Rider. Alright, don't really want the Lilo, the Stitch. And 2 Cuscos are too much. Let's just send them both back. I want Flynn, I want some discard. Gonna keep a pair of Incubables. Find a second Flynn and a Have You Forgotten Me. Going first, this could be interesting. So Be Our Guest is going to go into the ink pool first, as the plan here is to try and bait our opponent to hitting the Flynn Riders, discarding 2 cards, and then, Have You Forgotten Me, decimating their hand. Okay, 3 Flynn Riders is a bit much, so we're gonna send one to the ink pool, playing this one, passing the turn. Opponent on Ruby something, I presume Ruby Amethyst, but only time will tell. Or the next card the opponent inks or plays. Okay, we're Amber Ruby. It's interesting. Stitch comes in. Right, we'll ink another copy of Be Our Guest. Let's keep on with the original plan. Quest Flynn, play another Flynn, and pass the turn back. Let's try to keep our opponent's ink count low, because Ruby just loves these super expensive cards. As we've seen, our opponent's already inked a big Maleficent. So let's make our opponent's life much harder. Opponent is now picking what to discard after selecting Flynn as a combat target. And we've gotten a Lefou. Second Stitch goes to the ink. Opponent plays a Lantern. Alright, alright. Kind of want to play Have You Forgotten Me, but then the opponent can just cast their hand away and attack Flynn. No, the opponent can't play 3 cards, right? Nah, we're gonna ink a Cheshire Cat. We're gonna say, hey man, did you forget about us? Have you forgotten about Mufasa? Oh, Mufasa. The card's so bad that they had to create an entirely new card just to remind us that the original card exists. We're gonna quest with Flynn. And we've got an Be Prepared and an Aladdin. 2 yummy hits, as the opponent realizes that they're simply not going to have enough card to ink and a play. Opponent sacrifices Stitch for the second Flynn and has to discard 1 more card. Always nice to see. We've hit a big dragon Maleficent. So the opponent follows up with a Mickey Mouse. Do we ink the cat or go cat Lilo? I think we ink the cat. get to our nice 5, and let's not give our opponent the option. Maximus remains a 4/5. It's not just decimating our opponent's hand, it's really decimating our opponent's ink. So that all these beautiful cards, the Aladdin, the Be Prepared, and Maleficent, are completely out of reach ink-wise. Ooh, I like good Stitch. Now in this case, I'm out of uninkables. Kind of want to keep the Lilo for when I get to play Stitch. Which puts me in a bit of an odd spot. And there are so much resource constraints, so maybe I just go hit the Mickey. Do I want to super slow bounce back my own Maximus? I think so. Just to heal it. So I've traded Mickey Mouse and a lot of tempo for healing the Maximus again. I'm not sure that was a wise decision. Another Stitch Rockstar. It's improbable that our opponent has a removal spell. It would have to be Dragonfire and an inkable card, and then our opponent would be all inked out. So we're going to leverage our Rockstar to trade that Lilo into a threatened card. As Aladdin goes into the ink for our opponent. Oh no, it was the inkable Dragonfire. I should have kept the other Stitch, and I should have inked the Maximus. Oh well. Mistakes were made. Now we still have a bodyguard for our Lilo. Actually, 2 bodyguards. Our Palace Horse looking pretty fierce right now. So the opponent plays an evasive threat. Gonna have to be careful about that. Ooh, the Rapunzel top deck. That is gonna win us the game. Because we get to trade with Ariel, get Maximus in defender mode, full heal Maximus, draw 3 cards, and Sudden Chill is not really valuable at this point. So we're gonna ink it. No need to bodyguard with Simba. Maximus already doing the job, and we'll quest for 2 using our little not princess. Is she a princess? I don't think so. She's a storyborn hero. And the opponent finds a Maui. Alright, well, top deck mode is pretty favorable for both players. As Maui takes out our defender and makes me regret not putting Simba in defender mode. That's okay. That's okay. We have Cusco Simba. It's pretty solid. We can take out Maui. Probably want to do that with our Simba. Then just go for the big threat. Little bodyguard. Doesn't need a bodyguard. Rapunzel has nice stats that line up against that Tigger. And the Temperamental Emperor is now posing a fierce presence. Dragonfire will not save you now. You need a Be Prepared, and you don't have the ink for it. Opponent does find the Dragon's Fire, but Ward means no touchy. Alright. Opponent wants to race, we will race. Ariel finds a hit. Not a very good hit, but a hit nonetheless. Might as well keep it in hand for now. So we're in 13, threatening lethal for next turn. That's the problem with the discard cards. When you reach that point in the game, suddenly they're mostly useless because the opponent's just going to play whatever they top deck. I mean, I can still ink it. Opponent plays an Ariel. I mean, is it even worth challenging it? Oh no, I can't challenge it. What am I saying? It's ready. The opponent doesn't have any board wipes, so I'll just play Rapunzel as a threat. Rapunzel doing her stuff. Being tough. Questing for a lot. Healing. Drawing cards. It's doing everything we want. Everything we want. Except pay the bills on our credit card. She increases the bill. Well, that is game. We've destroyed our opponent's hand, and the opponent could never recover, as our series of top decks, even though I made a mistake not keeping the second stitch, which would have assured our victory without getting that Rapunzel. But our stream of card draw following the discard put our opponent in a really tight spot and gave us the win. Let's see what we can get our opponent to discard this game. Have a Lilo, a Simba, Have You Forgotten Me, and a 3-drop, Cusco. Seems pretty good. Let's keep that. Will ink be our guest? Primary function of that card is to be inked. And we'll play Lilo. Yeah, be our guest is really just a find me with Ariel and ink me. Or in the late game you can find a decent threat with it. But for now I'm quite happy to send it to the ink pile. Find a second cat. 2 cats are too many. Here we might as well play the bodyguarded Simba and start questing with our Lilo. It's unlikely our opponent has something to remove both Simba and Lilo. Well, a hook is there, so hook can trade with Simba if our opponent wants to. For a little bodyguard, well, that's its job, just take hits, protect the little girl, keep the toy safe. I mean, her toy. Yeah, Captain Hook doesn't really seem too fazed by the look on our little protective cup. Opponent's thinking. Opponent inks a smash, can't play it, not enough ink. Or, like they used to say, you require additional pylons. As Captain Hook decides to go for the trade with Simba. And we just quest with Lilo. Play cat. Oh wait, we need to ink something. Let's ink our Lefou. And play Cheshire Cat. Passing the turn back. I might have walked straight into Rafiki here. But I mean, it's an empty board. What am I supposed to do? Have to quest. So the opponent's playing Steel Amethyst. Slightly rarer combination nowadays. Opponent smashes the cat, which means Lilo lives. Ooh, and we find a sudden chill, which is gonna get inked. Because we can play the Papa. Have you forgotten me? Discard 2, my dear opponent. What did we hit? We hit Friends on the Other Side and Tinkerbell. Fairly decent hits. Although at this particular board state, I think I would have preferred some pressure. There was a brief consideration to keeping the inkable in hand, just so we can Cusco for sure this turn. But we draw an inkable source, so Cusco will come in. You are going to go on your final quest, little Lilo, as Hans is almost assuredly going to take you down. But man, did that Lilo do a lot of work. 8 lore all by herself. Hook's actually pretty good against Cusco. So I mean, Maleficent can ping it, then Hook finishes it off. It's a bit problematic. But again, that's why we have a backup Cusco. I mean, we still quest for 3. Love Cusco. It's one of the biggest threats in the game. The Hans can't ping it. So now the opponent would have to, well, not trade both Hans for it. Yeah, the Hook and Maleficent, 2 for 1, but not really, because the opponent got a card off of the Maleficent, and that didn't cost too much ink for the opponent. Ooh, now that's a nice top deck. Love hitting the sudden chill right here. Say goodbye to your last card, dear opponent. What did we hit? Whole New World. A score. Alright, now it's interesting. Do I play the Stitch or do I not play the Stitch? I'm questing with Cusco. If I play the Stitch, the opponent can just double quest with the Hans, pinging outer Stitch. But then I quest with Cusco and I force the combat. Or do I force the combat now? And then the opponent can't ping Stitch. I think I'm okay if the opponent just double pings the Stitch. Because it's another turn with 3 lore. And the opponent is going to have to sack at least one of the Hans into Cusco. Unless they draw into something marvelous. Also note that it looks like we didn't do too much with the discard. But we really did. Look at our opponent's ink. 4. And this is the control deck, the Steel Amethyst. The opponent wants to be doing a lot more inking. But because we've been applying so much pressure to our opponent's hand, they haven't been, and pressure on the board, the opponent just didn't have the time to set up and keep on inking and playing cards they've been forced into playing and not inking. And now we're in top deck mode, so we're actually in a somewhat terrible state. But we're just one Cusco away from being in a good spot again. Alright, well, maybe that'll help to dig. Friends on the other side. That one's interesting. Ariel that we can play this turn, or Stitch that we can't play. I think we go Ariel. Let's see what we can find. We can find Mother Knows Best. A card is a card. A lot of fetching this turn. Ariel, Spectacular Singer, getting fetched as a guest. It really tells a story. We are very inviting. We play Be Our Guest. We get a Spectacular Singer to come to the party, and then Mother Knows Best and sends everyone home. Story of a teenager. Opponent's very gutsy here. Hard casting a Whole New World. Honestly, that's a bit of a death sentence for opponent. Because now we only need to quest for 5. Which means our opponent needs to have a ton of Grab Your Swords to wipe us out continuously. So we just need to play around the ton of Grab Your Swords. Hans goes to quest, pings Ariel. I really like Hans. I'm not sure how its power level is going to survive Rise of Floodborn. So here we want to ink something. Play Rapunzel or Lefou, I guess. I don't think I need double Maximus. I want high questers here. So I can heal Ariel. Draw a card. Another Rapunzel. And Rapunzel's high health. And we have a lot of lore on the field. So the opponent kind of needs to grab your sword to wipe out our board. but there's no big singer. Guess that's the problem. So if the opponent grabs your sword, quest with Hans, pings Ariel, Rapunzel lives, then we're going to double Rapunzel, fully heal this one, and it's going to be lights out for our opponent. That's what I'm thinking about. What's the scariest thing our opponent can do? Other than that, there's a big Tinkerbell can come in. Chameleon pokes Ariel. No, that's not good enough. Hans quests pings Lefou out. Quest for 3. That's not so bad. Does leave our opponent into a fairly bad situation for next turn. The opponent would need double grab your sword for next turn. But we do need to be careful about the Tinkerbell pings. So if Tinkerbell has something to challenge, then she can ping something else for 2. Pretty sure we want to send Ariel into Hans. Then I think we just become threatening. Play Rapunzel, heal a Rapunzel, and play Cheshire Cat. So you have 3 big questing threats. We don't exert anything. We don't want to give Tinkerbell the ability to deal that extra damage. Now we're forcing our opponent to deal 5 to 2 characters in 1 turn. So the opponent needs grab your sword, fire the cannon. Something like that. Or grab your sword, smash to live, and we'll still get 1 Rapunzel in. That exerts everything our opponent has and taps him out. In which case we then launch the Have You Forgotten Me and take out whatever's left of their hand. And then we chip in with a Lefou. Lots of fun lines for us, not for our opponent. There's very slim odds that our opponent can get out of this. But it starts with double grab your sword. Or at least 1 grab your sword, a smash. Maybe grab your sword, smash, fire the cannon's good enough. Ooh, Whole New World does not do it. Now we have replacement Cusco. The opponent still has 8 ink, but with 8 pure ink, I don't think you can stop the double Rapunzels. Big slumber party there, just doing each other's hair. Oh yeah, Elsa. Forgot about that. I should not have forgotten about the Snow Queen herself. Oh, look at that. Opponent sacks the chameleon. Alright, well, we're gonna quest with the cat. We can force our opponent to discard 4. How much of a threat do I want to put here? So Tinkerbell hits Rapunzel, pings other Rapunzel for 2. Elsa can take out Rapunzel. Everything lives. We're not forcing a board wipe. I think I want to play at least 1 Flynn Rider. I want to ink at least 1 Flynn Rider. Really, we just need to resolve a Cusco next turn. So let's also play a Lilo. Just adding a bit of pressure. I guess we can pressure our opponent's hand a bit here. Let's play the Have You Forgotten Me. Just so we have the option of double sudden chill Cusco next turn. Making sure our opponent doesn't have another pesky answer. Although the only answer to Cusco really is double grab your swords. For some reason, I keep forgetting about the Spirit of Winter. It's an expensive card, it's uninkable, but when she comes in, she has a lot of impact. This was unwinnable otherwise. I say as I was certain it was unwinnable before. So what are you going to do? It does start with grab your sword this time. I'm pretty confident. Or Tinkerbell. Well, second Tinkerbell can wreak havoc. Another whole new world. I guess our opponent wants to keep us on our toes. We can't plan anything. Our hand just keeps getting shuffled up with our discard pile. And the opponent doesn't have a grab your sword to deal with our board. With the very anticlimactic victory. But it was a good game. Very fun game at that. Let's see. Mother knows best. Stitch. Have you forgotten me? Stitch. Cheshire Cat. Lefou. Cheshire Cat. Lots of redundancies. We'll send Mother knows best and a Stitch back at least. Probably the cat. We're going second. So Lefou's not at its finest. But we're going to keep it as an inkable. And we find a Lilo. Okay. Lilo, Ariel, and a Rapunzel. Let's see what our opponent is playing. Goofy. Ruby, evasive threat, followed by a Surgeon Tibbs. That's the way to start. We're going to start with our Lilo as we'll pass the turn back to our opponent. Lilo not as impactful without her buddy Simba, and not as impactful on the draw. I actually really wish she was inkable. I would have just inked her and went with Stitch instead. Gaston's the follow-up play. Well, we do find buddy Simba here. So another cheap questing threat's not what we want. We're gonna play Simba as a normal 2-3 and we'll just pass the turn back. I want to be able to fight Tibbs if I can with Simba, or at the very least threaten doing so. Oh, Gaston, reckless. Which means that, well, there's no worry about this thing questing. The arrogant hunter, as they say. And we can force him into Simba pretty much whenever we want. What we want to avoid is Gaston trading with Simba and Tibbs taking out the little girl. Pocket watch. Alright. Ooh, the opponent decides to go questing with Tibbs. I highly disagree with that decision. I'm going to ink a Stitch. Play an Ariel. Ariel finds nothing. And we'll take the opportunity. Simba's going to fight Tibbs. And the opponent really wants to pocket watch their next turn. That's okay, I guess. If you want to invest the ink into the pocket watch ability, you deserve to take out my Lilo. I don't care that much about Lilo. Just want you to invest so that, ooh, have you forgotten me is going to hit you like a truck. Ursula's Cauldron, second Gaston. Well, even if we put our opponent in top deck mode, the Ursula's Cauldron is a bit of a problem. Alright. Well, we can try to get our opponent. Would he have you forgotten me anyways? In case our opponent kept a 5-drop on top, let's take out that card. Messing with their plan. It was a Rafiki. Alright. Alright, Gaston, you're taking out Ariel next turn. Unless you have something that costs 3 that you can pocket watch. Which I'm guessing Rafiki was the plan. Gaston's forced to take out Ariel. A reckless being that he is. And here we'll send Cheshire Cat to the ink, because I really want to have Maximus protect our little Lilo. Maybe you're reckless, but I've got bodyguards, so we're all good. Curious to see what that card is. Opponent keeps on using the cauldron. 2 items. Pretty decent. Tibbs. The opponent left the Tibbs on top of the deck with the cauldron. Alright. That's a rushing Tibbs. That's gonna net us some cards. Thanks to Rapunzel. Do I even want to ink something here? I think I do. Let's ink Ariel and keep on questing. So we'll pass the turn back. No Rapunzel. There's a reason why foil Rapunzels are over $100. Beautiful hair, powerful effect, pretty strong stats. What's not to like? Now our Lilo's going to win us the game. We managed to keep her alive, make use of the recklessness of those Gastons. Sure, you can use the pocket watch. Did I tell you about the second Rapunzel? Keeping that big bodyguard alive. And this is lights out for our opponent, who's on 5 ink. Questing all the way to 13. And we have a +9 for next turn. Cauldron's not going to help you. Neither is Goofy. As we quest our way to victory. I hope that you've enjoyed this video featuring this card, where we go pew 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 on our opponent's hand and get them out of resources so that they have trouble putting cards in ink. They have trouble having enough ink to pay for whatever cards they have remaining in hand, if they have any. We have also seen the deck present an aggressive curve pressuring our opponent. The card draw that just takes over the game. Now, one thing that I did notice is the games do tend to go a bit more into top deck mode. But once we get Prince John with Rise of the Floodborn, that should no longer be one of the main concerns, as Prince John is just going to keep us flush with resources and our opponent empty-handed. Which, look forward to Decklist coming near you on my channel. Shameless advertising. Well, I guess this is the part of the video where I do the advertising. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and add a comment. And then add a second comment. What else can I advertise? Am I forgetting something? Make sure you thumbs up the video. Not twice, because that removes the thumbs up. Does it thumbs it down? No. Make sure it's thumbs up this way. Well, again, I hope you had a great time. You've had a lot of fun. The deck list is quite fun to play. The feel is a little different since we're really aiming for opponents' resources, trying to take those out. So the deck has a special feel to it. Feel free to try it out on Pixelborn or on paper at your local game store. Have a great time playing it or playing your usual deck, and I'll see you next time.